So we're back. So today, just kind of digging a little bit deeper into this animation of Bahamut, the dragon summon that we drew a little while ago. So let's just scan through it again real quick to see what we're working with. Okay. We can probably solidify this just a little bit more so we can kind of see what's going on. We can probably touch up on some of the drawing as well. Yeah, we can fix that. We can do that for sure. Alright, so to get started, let's see what other elements we got that we're working with. Nothing on here. Cool. So let's get to a new layer, and I'm going to go ahead and draw this guy. I'm going to make him look a little bit more important than he actually is. We're going to keep a not smooth pen tool, so we can actually draw him without any issues, without it getting changing the drawing on us. So I started different places depending on how I'm feeling. For this one, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna kind of outline his body on what he should probably look like. I'll go ahead and draw his hand. I'll draw his back. Just gonna draw his fingers here real quick. Whoop, too many fingers. Draw his leg. Not really going for anything real solid just yet. And then for his torso, just gonna draw his leg here real quick. Draw a knee. His foot. Of course, his foot is bent up a little bit. Man. Kind of like that. His head like that. And it's okay that we just drew his back and we're already kind of erasing it. That's alright. So let's finish his chest here. Finish his shoulders like that. Boom, boom, boom. And this part of his thigh is going to come up just a little bit more. Sort of like that. know, I'm gonna change his hand. I think his hand could be a little bit cooler. Kind of like that. And then we'll do some knuckles. Like so. Okay. So now let's go to the next layer. Save. Let's put our onion skin on. And I'm actually going to solidify just this layer alone. So we're just drawing this guy again. So now along with this, actually I probably should put his palm just a little bit lower. Like his palm is actually on this thing. Alright, so with this, now we're going to start adding some like clothing onto him. Something kind of like this here. Then we'll do like a shoe kind of thing. The foot we did was already kind of there, to be honest. And honestly, so once we get all this drawn, we're not even gonna really see this guy too much more. So it's okay that we're actually spending some time on this. Now I'm gonna draw his his battle skirt. And so I'm not even really like using a reference or anything, just because this is something I don't really care too much how this turns out. It's really just to have a reference point for all the drawing and stuff that we're doing for this dragon, right? I'm thinking kind of like a Spartan, kind of like a Spartan outfit, basically. Something that's very easy to draw, because we're not even using our normal set of tools here, to be honest. Boom, boom. Let's do his wrists. Let's put some hair on his arms. And actually, let's get rid of this line. like this thumb. Let's change this thumb. I really shouldn't be getting this detailed, but you know how it is. It's like as an artist, you know, you just gotta draw, just gotta kind of get everything in there, make sure it looks good by your standards, and the next thing you know, you spent like 2 hours on it, right? And actually, we will draw these fingers over the over this leg here. I was kind of getting to the point where I was gonna go over it, but no, I think we will draw it. But the leg will be over the arm though. I don't really like the way the wrist turned out. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know what's going on right here. It needs to be kind of like this. Kind of like that a little bit. Yeah. Let's actually get rid of that line. Just bring that thumb in. Oh, I guess I made it full screen. Hitting the F button makes it full screen. Instead of deleting that line, we'll just erase it from there. Make it a little stronger. Hit save. Always make sure you're saving. Do some arm action like that. Kind of like that there. And then for this guy's face, we're actually gonna do some hair like this. Do some anime hair. How about that? This is not a really great face, if I'm gonna be honest, but let's see what it looks like. It's not. We can. I feel like I can do better. Let's see if we can do better. We can do better than that, right? We just did this fantastic body. It's all about the angles, I think. Ah, man. Okay. You know, honestly, I think this is enough. Do like a little butt chin, because those are always funny. Let's erase those. Nah, the butt chin is kind of throwing it off. Let's do a better mouth though. Let's turn this onion skin back on. Let's fix this leg. Let's turn it back off. The leg needs to come around kind of like that. So let's just finish up the drawing as much as we can at this point. All right. Actually, I'm gonna fix this because I feel like it would come up like that. Boom. Keep hitting the wrong button. Okay, now let's turn our onion back off. Let's turn everything back off. And let's see how it looks. So we're gonna make a new background. We're gonna make all new layers for everything. Background 2. Make a foreground 2. And I think I'll leave it at that for now. So I'm honestly not even sure I'm gonna do more than those 3 layers right there. So let me turn. So honestly, I think I might just copy the background. Because I think the background is going to be exactly what I want to do anyway. I'm not going to do anything really crazy with it to show like, I'm not going to like enhance it and do anything different, right? So I'm just going to make it black. Boom. We got our backgrounds. That easy. Oh, and let's go ahead and take our final drawing of this guy. And we're just going to copy over that last drawing we just did. And I will say what I will do with the background, I will kind of like show like rubble. And I guess I lied. I said I wasn't going to do anything more. Well, no. All you got to do is just probably move that up, kind of like that. Boom. How about that? What I will do is fix the foot. Let's get back to the foot. It's not quite as tight as I would want it. So let's turn it up to kind of be like flat on the ground. Let's get rid of that. Kind of like this. Boom. And yeah, I think that's fine. I think that looks fine. All right, so now I'm just gonna extend this out. I'm gonna make my new drawing match the old drawings so that it lasts the same amount of time. And what I'm gonna do, so we're gonna go ahead and do the whole animation in the drawing, right? And then I think there's some places that we can go back and fix the timing and things like that to make it a little bit tighter. So now that we have all that, let's go to the next scene. The very next scene is going to be a close-up of the guy's face again. And so what we can do, we can take what we already have, copy it, and bring it to the next scene. Boom. And all I'm going to do is enlarge him to fit what we got. Now let's take a look at it. Cool. It looks good, but we're going to... The line weight is a little too thin. So we're going to boost it up to about 10 point. Yeah, that 10 points is good. Let's erase some of these lines. Let's close up any lines that don't make any sense. I'm not going to make this no super clean drawing, so we'll just be wasting our time. It's not really meant to be a clean drawing. It's just meant to portray the idea that we're thinking of, right? And the only two characters in this whole thing is the dragon and the guy, so I think it's easy enough to work on these two. So like we did before, we're going to extend this new drawing out to fit the timeline. And I think the very next drawing in our process is him looking up. So same body, so let's copy this, go to the next one, paste it. And while we're here, we can go ahead and extend this out. Excuse me. All right, so basically what we're looking at is he's gonna be looking up. He's looking up at the sky now. So we're gonna get a full frontal of his face with his eyes just looking up. So we're gonna keep the same body though. We might just move it down, just like how this drawing is, just to kind of help us show some kind of movement. Oh, so I already did that, already copied it. So now let's go ahead and turn that off. Let's grab all of the face as much as possible. So we're not going to redraw the body. We're just going to remove the head. A second. I picked up one too many elements than I wanted. Perfect. Alright, so we removed the head. Save. I'm gonna turn my full screen off because I need my elements back here. We're going to group the head and then I don't want to like completely erase it, so what I'll do, I'll turn my whole screen back on. I'll remove this. There's a couple little elements missing. Let's get all these little elements. It's trying to stick around. Let's move it to the side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and fix the... Ooh. Let's fix our pen tool first. Remember we took the line weight up to 10, so we got to do that same thing with our tool now as we're drawing. Let's give him a back again. Let's fix some of these little things here. Boom. So now I'm gonna kind of go to this next scene, go to the next drawing. I'm gonna turn my onion skin back on. I'm gonna redraw his face. But I'm gonna give it a little bit more character. Because now we're kind of looking at it from the bottom. And I'm not really using the drawing under it. What I'm doing more is kind of using the shape It's like, okay, this is how big it is. This is how big his head is. We need to keep this in mind as we're drawing. Kind of like that. I am going to try to close up as many lines on this as possible because I want to try and color him. It'll make it easier in the long run if I go ahead and take care of that kind of thing now. Stuff like that. With his head. Gotta separate his head from his eyes, from his face, his hair. Boom. That's great. That looks great. Like I said, a few little lingering elements. Let's make sure we close up any gaps here. Now let's get his eyes. Probably need to close his eyes up, huh? Actually, we're not gonna have his eyebrows touching his eyes, because right now it looks like his eyes are like kind of half closed. And the best way to do this, what we're trying to do is give him an element of surprise, like, huh? He's like shocked, right? The best way to do that is to make his eyes kind of like large, like that. It's kind of like shock and worry. He's like, what? And then we're looking up at an angle, so you're kind of seeing the back of his mouth, kind of like that. Save. We can bring his eyes together just a little bit better than that. Kind of like that. That looks good. So save, because we don't know what's going to happen when we group this. All right, cool, it stayed. All right, so we're gonna take this head, and we're gonna put it where our old head was. Oh, before we do that, so let's erase it again. Let's go back to our previous drawing and see what happened with his back. His back moved down and his head moved up. So wherever his back is right here, we gotta move it down. So let's take all of it and move it down some, like that. We'll put his head in and we'll move it up. We'll make sure it's up. Save. Let's go back to it. And since his head is up now, I want to make sure I show his neck. Like that. Now I'm going to take some of these lines. Again, we drew these lines in, but now we got to erase them all over again. The reason why we do that, even though we know we're going to get rid of some of these lines that we went back in and drew, is to kind of help solidify the drawing without having to kind of figure it out later on. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I think his back was kind of like this in this point here. And no, just go ahead and redraw it, and then we'll erase it again later to fit our needs. So what we always got to keep doing, make sure we do this often, is go back and look at what we have so far. There's our background, there's that. I think that looks cool, right? That looks pretty cool. But this background, we can keep using that. Let's take the background. Let's get our regular pen tool again. We got to remember, every time we switch, we got to switch back. Save. We'll copy all this background. bring it here, but we'll definitely make it a little bit bigger, like that. Let's get rid of this blue line so we won't need it anymore. Like that. And while we're here with this guy, let's just go ahead and add a what symbol, kind of like that. We'll see what our next drawing is. The next drawing is going to have his head just a little bit in there. That's why we grouped it. It's always good to group multiple elements together when you're moving a whole bunch of them at the same time. So it makes it easier for stuff just like this. So we grouped it. Now I'm going to copy it, move it over. And we'll have just a little bit hanging out so we can see. Let's go ahead and fill it in. Now the background again. Kind of like that. I did a little bit of extra flavor to it, but we don't want to overdo it too much, right? So let's grab some of this background here, copy it. Let's get rid of. Let's bring it here, paste it down. Get rid of this blue line. Get rid of these blue lines. Don't need them. But we'll do a sun. Kind of like that. I'm sitting here thinking, oh, the clouds. I need to make sure these clouds here are actually, see, they're not closed up. That's what I thought. I was like, did I close up these clouds? Actually, what I'll do, I'll just do a square. Boom. The square is perfect for when you're coloring a lot of multiple elements. You got to make sure they're closed. If they're not closed, then it doesn't actually drop the color in there like you want. So let's do the same thing here. Same thing here. Same thing here. We'll make sure we do this on all of them, to be honest. Usually what I do when I actually do my drawings, I'll start with the backgrounds first. And then as I go along, I need to make edits. I'll change the backgrounds as I go. And this one in particular, I'm just kind of winging it, to be honest. Let's see. So, do some more clouds. I'm gonna try and stick to the same shape as the clouds that I did for the most part. Well, actually, there's no need to do that. I can just make these blue ones black. I'm actually gonna get rid of this circle instead of making it such a perfect circle. these lines though, I am going to try to make them as tight as I can. See, this was where it's getting a little harder to notice what I'm doing, what I'm drawing versus what I'm not. So even though I'm not drawing a perfect circle, I am drawing tighter circles. That one looks really off. What I should probably do to make it a little easier, I'm gonna draw it in red. Ooh, I think I'm messing this up. About to say, man, I just really jacked this up. Okay, I see what I'm gonna have to do. I'm about to start with the later one, later frame. Drag it down. And honestly, if I'm using this same, I might just copy this and just put it here. I mean, to be real, I could tighten up on the circle a little bit more. Like on this one, it's not as tight as I would want it, which is fine. Just gotta kind of make that decision as we go. I think I'm gonna use all of these as is. You know, and then the really cool thing about all this is that it's a process. You know, it's not really meant to be overwhelming or be like, man, that's just a long time, man, that sucks or whatever. It's really meant just like it's like having fun doing what you love to do. And if drawing is something you love to do, then just have fun doing it. Don't think about anything else. Think about solving the problem. Solving the visual problem in front of you, so that when you're done, you can have fun watching it. Sometimes I watch my videos over and over, and I'm like, man, I can't believe like that came out of my brain, you know? So that looks fine. I like the way that looks. All of that there, all that looks good. See, right here is where we can, okay, I made a slight mistake, I think. Did I? Yeah, okay. My mistake is that the background is not the same as the foreground. and accidentally put all of this shining stuff in the background when it's actually the foreground. So just gotta remove that real quick. No harm. And the reason why I'm doing this is it's really important because when you go from working on the main subject versus the background, it helps to know which one you're actually working on, so that you don't mix up the elements. And it's like, oh, I want to take the whole foreground and actually move it or make it a different color or something like that. What is this drawing? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. All right. So right here, I'm gonna take all of this, copy it. I'm not gonna change a thing about this. I like exactly the way it's going. Yep, the background is still working exactly the way it needs to. Because there is nothing in these frames here. Which is fine, so we'll leave that the way it is. But now on the main ground, okay. So for this, I'm gonna keep this. This part, I'm not. This, I'm gonna tighten up. Just like that. And this, I'm gonna kind of make a shape, an irregular shape. And the whole idea of that is just to kind of help show there's a breakup of things happening all at once. These little lines kind of help show action is going on, like an explosion of sorts. And then it kind of locks in. And then instead of showing a whole bunch of like squiggly lines and stuff, I'm just going to do a circle. I think that'll be good. And from this circle, it's going to be the same thing over and over. So I need to make sure whatever I do for this, that it actually is really straight Looks good. All my lines feel like action is happening. Almost like energy is flowing. And then same right here. Let's do an onion skin pre-drawn layer. Kind of like that. Kind of like this. I'm gonna try to put it in different places that my previous lines are not. Turn our onion skin back off. And I'm not gonna worry about colors just yet. But I am gonna go ahead and put a keyframe in here because I wanna make sure I remember exactly where all this stuff is starting. Copy it, paste, paste, paste. Another keyframe, boom. All right, so now this is where I can make a couple little corrections that I didn't do in my last drawing. Let's turn our onion skin back on just real quick so I can see exactly what I'm doing. This is where I'm going to move the circle up. I'm going to make it smaller as I do that. It needs to be significantly smaller as well. And then from here, all right, so let's go back. Let's show some of the lines. And just maybe a few little lines in between there. Man, this is where it's getting a little tricky when you're trying to be just a little, when you're trying to kind of redraw it. Got try not to get in my head too much about it. All right, now from here, actually, you know what I might do? I think I might actually just keep what has already been drawn in this part. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep the parts with all the lines and everything like that. So from there to until the dragon starts showing up right there. Copy, and we're gonna paste, and we're gonna create a brand new drawing. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of these keyframes. Well, no, I'm gonna keep it. There's no need to get rid of it just yet. So Got this here. We got all the lines. Right. And this is where Bahamut is going to show up. I think we can keep everything up until right here. Make a new drawing. Now this is where we're going to get into our actual drawing. This is going to be the cool part. This is the fun part, right? So keep that on. So now we're actually drawing our dragon here. Now we can go ahead and turn on that full screen that we had before. I'm going to try and do some details in here. Again, kind of like how we did the soldier in the beginning. Try not to get too bogged down on making it perfect, but we're going to at least try to make sure our details are nice. Right? They're defined. I'm not going to say nice. I'm going to say defined. Kind of like that. And then once we draw one wing, then we're going to go ahead and just copy it and paste it for the other wing. Yeah, that little fin is just too... kind of like that right there. There we go. And these like I have a name for these things. Not satellites. Not satellites. They're not antennas. Oh, let's turn our full screen back off. Need to get that flip tool. Save. Always saving. Bring it over here. Let's move everything over just a little bit. Let's take a look at what we got actually. Ah. Okay, there's our dragon's wings. Looks nice. Whoop. Let's turn the dragon back on, the underskin, whatever. It's kind of like this. Not gonna make this too complicated. Keep the same thing that I had before. his body. I'm trying to repeat the same movement I just did. It's tough trying to redraw the same things, man. I'll just draw on this tail. We're gonna do kind of the same thing we did with the head just now. We're gonna make it kind of like that. And then for the foot, kind of like this. Let's turn the bottom skin off. He's a pretty thin dragon, you know. He's meant to be a little skinny, on a skinnier side. And that's okay. So now let's turn that over, do like this. See, I don't really like this snout thing that's going on. He's supposed to have a stronger... kind of like that, but from an overtop point of view. Okay. I don't know why I couldn't just do that a second ago. Yeah, kind of like this. Oh, gotta do the arms. Almost forgot about the arms. Just something to kind of help show that they're there, right? Like that. Yeah. Okay, now that we've drawn that much, now we got to do the next part. And we'll actually make them a little bit smaller. Pull them back some. The wings, We're gonna go ahead and delete these wings. I'll go ahead and delete this tail because we're gonna redraw that. And I'm gonna delete the neck, not the head, but the neck itself. I'm gonna really undulate the neck. Kind of like that. And then I'm going to, I need to actually move these wing connections down a little bit. And this is the wings going down, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So if the wings are going down, then it needs to kind of curve some. And we're going to see the underside of the wing come out like this. And then we're going to see actually these spikes. Kind of like that. We're going to bring these around. Whoop. Oh, I accidentally erased something. Didn't mean to do that. And again, we're not going to really put a lot of crazy detail into this outside of a few spikes, or I say spikes, it's kind of like the wing web or whatever it's called, like for bats, the webbing within the wings. Whoop, whoop. So we'll do like that. Let's do that again right there. So it's coming down. Just kind of like that there. Now let's take a look at the tail. Let's see what the tail looks like. So it really does a flippy looking thing like that. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so I think that looks really good, and that wasn't too long, right? When it comes to putting all these details in there, you have to put a little bit more time into it, yes. However, I think it's worth it. I think at the end of it, people are gonna see it and be like, whoa, that's a big difference. Whoa, that really came out a little bit tighter, a little bit better. I can see it. People are gonna look at it and feel like they actually know what's going on now versus the animatic. The animatic can be really cool, but it can also be so confusing to look at sometimes. So it can be a little good to do this, you know. Let's make sure we save. We're gonna go back and copy this layer again. Put it right here because the wings are coming up. And now let's copy this drawing. Put it here because it's a new drawing. And let's see what we got here. Actually, I'm going to bring them up a little bit. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. Just slightly. Because these slight changes that we do are very noticeable. And I'm actually going to delete the neck again. Delete the tail again. This time I'm going to draw these like spike finger things. So they're coming down, up. So it's going to be kind of like a like that. Boom, boom, boom. They're not going to see this part out here anyway, so there's no need to try to make it like really good or anything. It's okay that it's a little off. And in fact, probably want to bring this up just a little bit more right here. We're going to delete these I still haven't come up with a name for it, did I? Spikes. I mean, everything's a freaking spike at this point, right? Some kind of satellite, some kind of antenna. Yeah, that's what it is. I think I called it an antenna earlier too. Doing a lot of jumping around. That's only because I have to kind of zoom out to see what's going on. And actually, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to draw these lines up like this. This line right here is very misleading. It's very small, but it's very significant. It can make it seem like it's going a different direction than it's actually not. You know? Let's go ahead and delete that. Let's copy all of this here. Save. I'm going to group it, copy it, paste it, flip it. That sounds like a Missy Elliott song now. That almost have to move it up just a little bit more than usual. That's fine. Anything that's under it we will delete. Just imagine we got a lot more drawn on this to go. Some action lines to kind of help show some airflow. I'm actually going to draw these lines going down. What's going on? Oh man, I didn't realize I grouped all that. That's fine, we can ungroup it. Draw the lines kind of flying down, flapping down. Now at this part, let's go ahead and draw in the, we're gonna do it a different direction. I don't care what's in the underdrawing. We did it that way, now we're gonna do it this way. And the tail, I'm not going to give it a whole lot of time either. Just quick enough to get it in and out. So erase all this stuff under. Just the leg. Oh, did I draw the same tail again? I think I did. So let's erase that tail then. Actually, let's not erase it. Let's just flip it. Boom, like that. Now, unfortunately, I did erase a lot of this leg where it wasn't necessary. That's why we can just go back and copy it, paste it again. You know, that's kind of the beauty of drawing digitally, is that you can do that. You can just, oops, I made a mistake, let me go back. I think that's why I got away from drawing on sketchbooks and stuff from before. I don't know, I think I just fallen out of love with the traditional sketchbook. And a lot of people try to go back to it, and it's like, oh, I gotta get back to my roots, or get back to drawing again. I'm like, man, you know, more power to you, but I don't have it. I don't have the energy to do it the old-fashioned way anymore. Every now and then I'll try to doodle something, but it's just not the same. So there we go. I think that's beautiful. beautiful. We'll just copy and paste this a couple times. Oh. It lasts all the way till right here. So I'm going to copy this, erase these layers, paste it. I'm going to delete this, put a keyframe back right there. But so what I'm doing is I'm going to save, group it, and then I'm going to enlarge it to the point where it's really large. I'll probably go up about 3 points to make it a 10. And then let's take a look at it. That looks good. What's the next scene? I think we get even closer. So let's make it even bigger. And since we made it so much bigger, we're gonna have to 10 point. We're gonna have to close up some of these lines here that came apart, because as it gets larger, the all the lines actually begin diverging from each other. Do that. And do that. All we need is for the head to actually be in frame and to actually close up. I don't need anything else to work right now. In fact, I can probably go ahead and erase all this. Oh, I forgot. It's grouped. It'll just make it a lot less to have to color when it gets time for that. I'm not gonna go too crazy because I don't need to. Whoop. Kind of like right there. Let's go ahead and erase all that. Save. The less your computer has to process, the better when it comes time to actually render some of this stuff. And it'll keep it from locking up and do all this crazy stuff as you're trying to actually do your drawings, man. It just messes up everything. It'll keep crashing and all that. So from here, I'm gonna draw the tail. What else is in this picture? We have I think the spikes were under the wings, right? Yeah, the spikes are under the wings. So we got the wings batting right here. I kind of had it like that. And then, of course, I'm going to close it up. We'll probably work on just a few more frames, and then we'll go ahead and call it a day for today's live stream. We'll finish up the rest later. So this here can probably stay for the most part. I am going to redraw some of it. Because it is in need of some better graphics style here. A little stylization. And then of course showing like the boom. I might take that frame out, to be honest. Well, no. that. And I'm just doing something real quick and silly for the wings. This frame is so fast, nobody really sees what's happening anyway. So, kind of putting this together. Try not to be too lazy with it, because I do want it to look good, but it's just, you know, how much effort do you really put into such a fast frame? It moves by so quickly that people barely get a glimpse of the action of actually what's going on. I think most animators can understand my plight on that. We can actually do some of these quick ones. These quick ones are easy. Oh. Still just doing like a real abstract shape, not really looking like anything. But now, see, now this is where it's actually gonna start coming together. I don't know if this actually even looks like the Bahamut character. It's more like a dog. But that's okay. A dragon's gonna be a dragon regardless. And then I think, you know what? I think we're gonna call it on that right there. Simply because it is bedtime. But I hope you all had fun and in seeing this, and it kind of made some kind of sense. But this, I mean, this is art. You know, this is how you do illustrations. This is how you do animations. It's a lot of drawing. It's a lot of time. But you know, if you're doing it for work, or if you're doing it for you know, fun, I would say do it for fun. Then you're never really feeling that time. You're never really feeling like, oh man, this is taking forever. You can be feeling more like, wow, I can't believe I just spent 3 hours working on this. I'm gonna actually throw in a little extra. Do a little hand there. Nah, I'm not gonna do the hand. It's just so much fun. You just have a blast doing this kind of thing, and yeah.